In the annals of modern history, few names elicit the intrigue, fear, and fascination of Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. To some, he was a Robin Hood figure, a man who used his immense wealth to lift the downtrodden from poverty. To others, he was a cold-blooded criminal, the architect of a global cocaine empire that left a trail of bloodshed in its wake. Escobar's story is one of ambition, power, and moral contradictions, a tale of a man who rose from obscurity to become history's most infamous drug lord. Join us in today's episode while we examine the life of one of the most notorious criminal drug figures in history. Our journey begins in the humble streets of Rio Negro, Colombia, where Escobar was born on December 1st, 1949. His father was a farmer and his mother a school teacher, providing him with modest beginnings in a country plagued by political unrest and economic disparity. Young Pablo was ambitious from the start, displaying a keen intelligence and a knack for resourcefulness. But as he grew older, his ambitions veered away from legitimate pursuits. By his teenage years, he was dabbling in petty crimes, stealing tombstones, selling contraband cigarettes, and smuggling appliances. These activities were the seeds of what would later blossom into a global criminal enterprise. In the early 1970s, Escobar saw an opportunity that would change his life and the world forever. Cocaine, a substance derived from the coca plant native to South America, was gaining popularity in the United States. Recognizing the vast profit potential, Escobar began smuggling small quantities of cocaine into the U.S. What started as a modest operation soon escalated, as demand skyrocketed and Escobar's ambitions grew. By the late 1970s, he had co-founded the Medellín Cartel, a sprawling drug empire that would dominate the global cocaine trade for over a decade. At the height of his power in the 1980s, Pablo Escobar was more than a drug lord. He was a force of nature. His cartel controlled an estimated 80% of the cocaine entering the United States, earning him billions of dollars annually. Escobar's wealth was so immense that he reportedly spent $2,500 a month on rubber bands to bundle his cash and stored piles of money in warehouses where rats ate through millions of dollars. Forbes magazine even listed him as one of the richest people in the world. Yet, Escobar's power was built on more than wealth. It was enforced through fear and violence. He employed an army of sicarios, or hitmen, who carried out assassinations, bombings, and kidnappings to eliminate rivals and silence opposition. His motto, plata o plomo, silver or lead, offered a stark choice: accept his bribes or face death. Politicians, judges, police officers, and journalists were all targets of his ruthless campaign to protect his empire. One of his most notorious acts of terror was the bombing of Avianca Flight 203 in 1989, intended to kill a presidential candidate. The attack claimed 107 innocent lives and sent shockwaves around the world. But Escobar was not just a figure of terror, he was also a master manipulator of public perception. In the impoverished barrios of Medellín, he cultivated an image as a benefactor, building soccer fields, housing projects, and even schools. To the poor, he was El Patron, a man who shared his wealth and gave them hope. This duality, villain and hero, allowed Escobar to maintain a loyal base of support even as his crimes mounted. As his empire expanded, so too did the efforts to bring him down. The Colombian government, pressured by the United States, declared war on the Medellín Cartel. Escobar responded with unprecedented brutality, declaring war on the state itself. bombings and assassinations became routine, turning Colombia into one of the most dangerous places on earth. The period came to be known as La Violencia Narco, a dark chapter in Colombian history. In 1991, faced with mounting pressure and the threat of extradition to the United States, Escobar struck a controversial deal with the Colombian government. He agreed to surrender in exchange for leniency and the construction of his own prison, the infamous La Catedral. But this was no ordinary prison. Outfitted with luxurious amenities, including a nightclub, soccer field, and jacuzzi, it was more of a fortress than a penitentiary. From within its walls, Escobar continued to run his empire, using bribes and threats to maintain his dominance. Escobar's reign, however, was not destined to last. In 1992, after escaping La Catedral to avoid a transfer to a stricter facility, he became a fugitive. The Colombian government, with support from the United States, launched an all-out manhunt. The pursuit culminated on December 2, 1993, when Escobar was tracked down in a modest hideout in Medellín. A shootout ensued, and Escobar was killed, his body riddled with bullets on a rooftop. The image of his lifeless body marked the end of an era, but it also left behind a legacy of devastation. Even in death, Pablo Escobar's influence loomed large. The Medellín Cartel fragmented, but the cocaine trade persisted, with other cartels stepping in to fill the void. Colombia, scarred by years of violence, embarked on a long journey of recovery, seeking to rebuild its institutions and restore its international reputation. Pablo Escobar remains a polarizing figure. To some, he is a cautionary tale, a man whose insatiable greed and ruthless ambition brought untold suffering. To others, he is a symbol of defiance against systemic poverty and inequality. His life is a study in contrasts, a man who gave with one hand and destroyed with the other, who built playgrounds for children and ordered the deaths of innocents. Today, his story continues to captivate the imagination, inspiring countless books, documentaries, and dramas. But behind the myth lies a stark reality, a reminder of the human cost of the drug trade and the enduring challenges of addressing inequality and corruption. Pablo Escobar was a man of immense contradictions, a figure who straddled the line between villainy and legend. His story, steeped in violence and ambition, is a haunting chapter in the history of organized crime, a testament to the far-reaching impact of power, greed, and the choices that define a life. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution.